Poll after poll reveals that the majority of ordinary Americans, we Mainstreeters, strongly disapprove of what we see happening to our government. We perceive that political campaigns and the policy-making process are increasingly dominated by elite donors and lobbyists. And we know all too well that the resulting policies have unfairly benefited big money and special interests to the detriment of the rest of us. Especially in the decades since the Powell Memorandum and the so-called Reagan Revolution, economic, social, and political power has been wrested from the majority and given into the hands of the financial and corporate elites. A 2014 study by Professors Martin Gellens and Benjamin Page of Princeton and Northwestern University reveals that on many key issues, government policies rarely align with the preferences of the majority of Americans. Average Americans were found to have a statistically zero effect on policymaking, and the wishes of economic and corporate elites were shown to be determinative. The researchers succinctly concluded, when a majority of citizens disagrees with the economic elites, the majority generally loses. Similarly, such leading economists as Paul Krugman, Joseph Stiglitz, and Robert Reich all admonish that the financial and corporate elites have captured the political process and shaped policies that foster flagrant income inequality, wealth disparity, and a predatory system that ignores the needs of everyday working Americans. Given this corruption of the democratic process and the harsh injustices that have ensued, it's not surprising that many of us are coming together to demand significant change, and now. Recently, Move On and Democracy for America wrote for Politico, the surging progressive spirit of the 2016 Democratic field and electorate are all tremors foretelling a much deeper tectonic shift in American politics. We're due for a profound political reckoning, and that restores our founders' dream of government by and for the people. We agree. It's time for a new era of systemic institutional change. And it is out of this conviction that we invited tonight's speakers to outline a set of progressive policy proposals that would constitute a comprehensive policy agenda reboot, with the goal of reclaiming the American dream for all by realigning legislative priorities to benefit all. As members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus dedicated to promoting a fair progressive policy agenda for all Americans, Senator Sanders, a CPC co-founder, and Congressman Beyer, the representative from one of the nation's most progressive congressional districts. Our speakers in a unique position of expertise and political support to articulate such bold legislative priorities. Congressman Don Beyer is serving his first term as the U.S. Representative from Virginia's 8th District and as a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. We are in his district now, as you know. He serves on the Joint Economic Committee, the House Committee on Natural Resources, and is ranking member on the Oversight Subcommittee to the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. Representative Beyer was the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia from 1990 to 98, was ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein under President Obama. President Beyer's signature work as Lieutenant Governor included advocacy for Virginians with disabilities and ensuring protections for Virginia's most vulnerable populations as the Commonwealth reformed its welfare system in the mid-1990s. After leaving office, Representative Beyer was a decade-long board member of both the D.C. Campaign to Prevent Teen Pregnancy and Jobs for Virginia Graduates, a highly successful high school dropout prevention program. As ambassador, he was integral to the U.S. Department of Justice efforts to halt the abuses of Swiss bank secrecy by wealthy Americans. And he authorized a carbon footprint assessment of the embassy, a first for a U.S. embassy. And then the Beyers reduced that footprint by 40% during their tenure. His legislative efforts so far in his 6 months in office include co-sponsorship of paid parental leave for federal employees, and increase in the minimum wage, stage a bill to create carbon tax toward abatement of climate change, and legislation to tighten restrictions on gun sales to people with a criminal record. It is my distinct privilege to introduce and invite to the podium Congressman Don Beyer.